Binge the full week of The Ray Taylor Show ad-free over at patreon.com/inspired disorder.
What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.
Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar is a new movie I am talking about in this episode. It is currently on Hulu. It's a movie that I heard a lot about over the pandemic. It was one of those movies that was like the feel-good comedy, everybody must see, which I had never seen it. I don't remember how it was released before, but it's finally on Hulu. So I was excited to turn this movie on. Legitimately excited for some positivity, some like funny, great comedy, pick me up, let's do this. And I gotta say, this movie was the most disappointing film I have seen in a long time. There was, like I said, a lot of love for this film, and I don't understand why at all. There are a lot of things I do not like. I think it's a messy film. I think it's like almost a compilation of multiple sketches that are just glued together that barely have any related tissue to what else is going on in other scenes at points. Just the production felt like a sitcom going on vacation. You know, when you watch those sitcoms like Friends or like Parks and Rec, and they like, oh, they're going to London, and they have those scenes where they're actually outside on like streets, and it just has that weird, clearly, like, just, it's not very good. It's not very good. It had strong SNL vibes from like the early 2000s, or like the side story in this had big Austin Powers vibes. But that side of the story that was like evil villain, quote unquote, side of the story was pretty pointless. The connective tissue between the evil villain and Barb and Star were very inconsequential. This movie starts off with, also, I'm going to spoil aspects of this film because I didn't like it, but I'm going to talk about things. There were like two things that I did enjoy. This movie did start out good. This movie started out with one of the best characters, Yo-Yo, was one of the two things that I really enjoyed about this, where he's like delivering, he's this little Asian kid, and he's delivering newspapers, and then he pulls up to a tree, and the tree has like one of those laser like detection things on it, and the tree opens up into a door, and then he goes into like this secret base, secret villain hideout, of which he is a operative for. And that part of this story I had no idea about. I knew it was like Barb and Star. Obviously, they're like 40-something Midwest women who are currently not married, but have that Midwest housewife vibe to them, big time vibe to them. Chatty Cathys, as it were. They get into their own universe when they get to chatting with each other. But it starts off with this kid who's hilarious. Like, he's singing his song. He's got his own swag, and then it goes into this. It's like, so when that happened, he goes into the base. I was like, oh, interesting. Like, I'm thinking Barb and Star are going to get mixed up in some kind of like plot for this evil villain to take over the world, and that's where the adventure is going to come from. That is not what this movie is. Most of this movie is two quote-unquote friends, Barb and Star, who are extremely annoying. There's a scene where they're on a plane and they're chatting it up the entire time, talking about this imaginary person that they both look up to. Tiffany or something like that, I forget. It does show up later in the film at the very end, like randomly. It makes no sense, like I said. It's probably not going to even be on here. But they have this like giant conversation, which is fun. They're improvising this whole backstory to this made up person that they both look up to on this plane. On the entire flight from when they, before they take off to like up until they hit the lobby at the hotel. Which the conversation itself wasn't interesting enough. I sympathized with the people on the plane who were annoyed by the fact that they were just chatting about nonsense. But also, this movie is about, or I guess not about, let's say, when they do pull up to the hotel, there's this giant musical number. And before, when Yo-Yo's delivering the newspapers, he's singing a song that's kind of this musical moment as well. So I'm also thinking when this movie starts, oh, this is going to be like a live-action Disney type feel to it also. Because when they pull up to this hotel, it's this giant musical number. And when I say musical number, it not only is the staff of this, like, if they wanted to make this feel less of a musical and more of just a self-contained musical moment, instead of like giving the false thing that, oh, this might have a lot of musical things in it, because it goes to, it's like all the lobby people, all the employees of this hotel, but then it goes to this guy who is another assassin working for the evil person, and he starts singing like in a musical where just it goes to other characters, and other characters are kind of singing about what their narrative is, and it's a little bit different than what's going on. So that's what's happening. He goes into his narrative of what his mission is and all this kind of stuff. Not a musical. That's like the only music. Then musical moments stop. There's no other musical moments that I can remember. Maybe there's one other musical, but not. It's not a musical, so don't think it is. And then the whole story of the evil villain, and like she's albino and wants to get back at the people of Vista Del Mar because she was shamed as a child. Like, that's the whole crux of what she wants to do. And then meanwhile, her assassin is in love with her, but like is super sappy and like not able to follow through with his mission. But all of that storyline is like, it's just dumb. It's just so dumb. Like, like at no point did I care about the evil villain, because like her problem has nothing to do with Barb and Star. Barb and Star, until the very end of this film, really have nothing to do until the evil villain tells her boyfriend or whatever, her love slave, that Barb and Star are spies, which they're not. She knows she's making that up, but then at the same time also treats them like they're spies. She chases them to a cliff, and then like 6 alligators on them, and it's like they had to choose between jumping off the cliff or being eaten by, like, she's treating them like spies, but she knows they're not spies because she made up the whole it's just dumb. The only other thing aside from Yo-Yo that I enjoyed in this film, there's this moment where one of the characters, I forget who it is on the beach, and they have this conversation with a crab that happens to be voiced by Morgan Freeman. The crab is called Morgan Freeman with a D. That crab, really fun. I enjoyed that crab. Most of the movie is Barb and Star being horrible friends to each other, lying to each other because they're both in love with this emo assassin guy that never would be an assassin. Like, no part of this guy, aside from the fact that he's attractive and in shape, no other aspect of his personality is screaming, I'm an assassin. Nothing about him is like, I'm violent or can be violent or capable of violence in any way. None of that. He is like emo, like capital E, capital M, capital O, emo. And they like run into him, and they have this night that's kind of a fun scene where they all like get wasted and take drugs, and they have like a threesome or whatever. But then the rest of the movie is Barb and Star lying to each other to try and hook up with them. One of them, I forget who's Barb and who's Star. Hold on, let me check that out real quick. Barb. So Annie Mumolo is Barb. So Kristen Wiig, it must be Star. Star ends up dating this guy, or kind of hooking up with him multiple times. She's lying to Barb to get away to have sex with this emo assassin guy. And then Barb feels bad, and she's lying to Star about just having fun on this vacation in Florida. So the premise itself is like a bad Friends premise. Like, so much of this, I've been rewatching Friends recently also, which isn't the greatest sitcom, but it's got its moments. This movie has so much of that like kind Friends sitcom vibe, from like the stories, like just like the bad writing, the bad production, the inconsistent like understanding of what genre this film is. And I would have been all over this movie if it had just been a musical the entire time. Keep the story, but if you had musical moments in that would have been fun. I would have enjoyed it more. But it's just like these characters that are annoying, this pointless villain. The comedy in this is just that everybody is stupid. Everybody is stupid. Which, movies like Dumb and Dumber are funny because the two main characters are stupid. Everybody else is living in a normal existence of intelligence in that movie. And then Dumb and Dumber, Lloyd and whatever the other dude's name, I'm blanking on his name. Those guys are stupid, and that's the contrast in that is what makes it funny. Or if you have like a Laurel and Hardy thing, where the contrast of one of the characters being stupid and then the other one being the straight man playing off. But Barb and Star is stupid. Everybody else is even dumber. This emo assassin, the dumbest. Similar in a lot of ways to the Ghostbuster remake with the women. The comedy in that is that everybody is stupid, especially the men. The men are the dumbest people in this universe, in this reality, which is similar to this. Which, I don't care if you have dumb male characters, but to try and derive comedy, the whole comedic purpose of this film, the only reason there's anything to laugh at is that just everybody's stupid. And they do stupid things, and they lie about stupid things, and they say stupid things, and it's just this movie that I was hoping to be like a dose of joy. I was hoping for like a Ted Lasso kind of like positivity, or just, two friends being friends to each other and having fun on vacation, and maybe mixed up in this evil villain's plot to, get back at Del Mar. But that's not it. This movie's not about two friends that like each other. Obviously, at the end of this film, they like each other. But most of this movie, they're not good friends to each other. They are annoying humans to be around. I would imagine the Barb and Star reality are Karens in real life. Like I can imagine if this movie had added a dash of racism into their characters, they could easily be calling the cops on some black guy that just happened to walk by them. But yeah, this movie, not funny, super disappointing. I don't understand why people like it. Maybe if I was like a teenager, I would like it. But even still, if I was a teenager, like when I first watched Austin Powers or any of those SNL movies that are clearly dumb movies, but I did enjoy them. I don't know if I watched them today that I would still enjoy them, but at that time, I enjoyed them. And if I had watched this movie, maybe I would enjoy it, but I don't think I would be compelled to watch a stupid comedy where the two leads are 40-year-old Midwest housewives. Like, as a teenager, that's not something that would make me think, oh, this is going to be a stupid comedy. It's similar to Will Ferrell at this point. Like, Will Ferrell playing how old he is, playing like these young characters, is a shtick that is so played out in his movies that I have no desire. Like, like the last one, the singing competition one, I couldn't get into that movie at all. I am so over Will Ferrell being old. And this is similar to that, where it's just like, it's like a stupid teen comedy done by 40-somethings. And it there's so much disconnect there that I couldn't get into it, and I wanted to. That's why this is disappointing. Yell at me. Tell me why you like this movie. I can see why people like this movie. Sure. Especially if you're a woman in your 40s or in your 30s. I could see latching on to this, and you probably have relationships with your friends that are like that. I don't know. But for me, a cisgender 40-year-old dude, I thought it was structurally a bad movie. I thought production-wise it was low rent. I thought the only comedy in this whole movie was stupid people acting stupid, but in contrast to nothing, because everybody is stupid in this movie. But yeah, Barb and Star, go to Vista Del Mar. It's on Hulu right now. I wouldn't recommend seeing it, but if it sounded like something, like the premise or any part of it sounded like, I hope people like it. But I will judge you if you do. Like, I will have an opinion. Like, people that say the Tomorrow War is like smart is I judge you for thinking that. But yeah, if you think this is like an amazing movie, a funny movie, we have different opinions on comedy. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you only need stupid people to be funny. But anyway, that's my thoughts on that movie. Get yourself some amazing coffee over at stationhousecoffee.com and follow Station House Coffee on Instagram. That's your place for small batch, single origin, premium coffee brewed in Thetford Center, Vermont, shipped directly to you. Go now to stationhousecoffee.com and order yourself some amazing coffee. And don't forget to follow Station House Coffee on Instagram. New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on IGTV, YouTube, and everywhere else podcasts are found. Binge the full week ad-free over at patreon.com/inspireddisorder. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com and follow the show on Instagram at Ray Taylor Show. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!